Hello, this is Mitch, and I spent a couple days messing around with Playmaker and with the Rewired editor and the asset. And so I set up a little demo with mapping the two control sticks on the controller, and also mapping some of the buttons. And the way that it was done was actually pretty straightforward once I was able to figure out all the little details. So this is what the rewired editor looks like. First you set up a player, and you have to add the map to the player, and then you set up I set up all the actions. So instead of naming the keys, you just kind of name the actions for what you want them to be, which is really helpful when you start thinking conceptually. And the actions have an axis, so they can have either for an axis they have a positive or a negative value, or they can be a button. And then set up the map for the joystick. We use the Gamepad template default. There's other templates for specific controllers, but I couldn't quite figure out how to get that for my Logitech, so I just kind of used the default. And you add an action, and then you map the positive or the negative, and you map your action to the button, basically. And the button on the joystick, it's called an element, so it has different elements here. So like a left stick or a right stick X, right stick Y, and so these are also have positive and negative values. And then for the inputs, I set up a different FSM for each of the buttons. So like my shoulder button that fires an attack, it gets a button down from the rewired, and then it sends an event to a separate FSM, which I use to get all my controller events, and then that sends an event to another FSM okay, that's something different. Let's see, yeah, so it sends an event to the other FSM that changes the color, in this case, of the button on my screen, but this could be other code, and then it goes back to the original color. So that's kind of how you get the effect of the colors changing. Okay, I mean, that's pretty straightforward. And then to move vertically, so first I have my inputs where I'm doing get axes on every frame, and then for example, for my move horizontal, I get the FSM value for plus or minus 1 from the input, and then the next frame I multiply that by a number just so that it looks like it's moving on the screen, and then I set the property for the little knob in the local position, and so I do that in two frames. And so what happens is, once again, we get this movement of the two sticks, and they can move all kind of at the same time, and they can fire off the buttons at the same time as well. So just cool.